I would not have Ivy unless... The reason why I have Ivy is because I met Neptune in 2009 and my allergies to cats got so much better because every time I went over to meet with this person at their house, because we could not meet outside because of all these issues connected to women not following through with meeting up on the right time, people being late, let's say around 2 hours late. I'm thinking, well, we've had cell phones now for a couple years. I know they're still kind of new. That's why the words continuously were, these aren't my friends. These aren't people I would ever want to be around, quite frankly, because they're not very thoughtful. But I get it. They're your family and your family's friend. What do you want me to say? The funny thing is, when he went to Vegas for this bachelor party, he kind of broke the bro code. Ugh. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. I'd have to go to his house and we'd have to always leave together. Neptune, he's developed quite a voice. I'm surrounded by cats. I would not have these cats. My allergies biologically change through exposure. Everything does truly happen for a reason, in my opinion. This story is going offline, no. Story is stopping. This is the last post that I will be posting because everything built up to the post done yesterday was only to make sure I made a deadline, because it's been very difficult making my deadline. That's appointments, doing more than one thing, literally one thing a day, whether that's to leave my house, that's one thing, come back safely, that's the same one thing. Make a phone call, which is dreadful. I could only make phone calls on Monday and Friday, and usually I'd miss those deadlines. So that would go on for weeks or months. I have paid so many fees and credit card companies, which I never do, for missing those deadlines. Now everything is automatic, but that's the issue with all of this. And then there's this behavior of delay and stop questioning me, which was explained fully in the last session of Neptune's previous guardian, MPG.
Numerous times. There is such a thing. If you look at Brett Kavanaugh, this is an outstanding man.
Session with this guy named Dave M, who has some problems of his own. To suggest that it's ever okay to allow someone to be aggressive and bare their teeth at someone.
I mean, take me a break. 36 years. That is, look, this is a fine man. I saw a man suffering so unfairly.
So he did say no, I'll give him that. But he also described the situation that he's dealing with, that this person is in a cycle with. I'm sure the cycle has broken in some ways because they have to keep their very strong front now. I've given them a heads up because I wrote them a letter in 2015 in November, describing the triggers in linear order and how they relate to money, military, school, being treated differently, and this conversation of perfection. We were constantly being told that it's okay to be imperfect. I'm thinking, what's this obsession with perfection? Jeez, I don't have an issue with it. What is this about? And is that related to those conversations you had behind closed doors? Because as soon as we approached the rock wall, somebody started having a biological reaction. And that's why I would say, well, I'll go talk to your dad.
Finally given the honors he deserves.
Thank you again.
Somebody retired and explained how the happiest day of his life, except of course the day of his marriage and having his children, was when he didn't have to wear a suit anymore. And that's literally the same thing my father said. The day he never had to wear another tie. Let's call it birth to death. One life cycle. All right? We're going to zoom in, because I take oral histories of people that are struggling, considered the most at risk, most vulnerable, and most in need. But you need to recognize why they're in that situation, why they're in the situation to begin with. It's not a choice, not their choice to be homeless, be addicted, to feel unloved and self-hurting. Man, the self-harming in this place that I went to, that's the thing that sticks. And I can't explain why I can't cut up fruit or dice and pear like I used to without cutting myself. Can't cook, use the oven or stovetop without burning myself. Because I know these people are going to write that down, that she self-cut, self-harmed. Because they're not listening, and that's the problem. People aren't careful readers, people aren't careful listeners. All right, this will be the very last.
I know that it's true now that there's no more I don't know. I'm in love and love's the reason. I'm not prepared to let you let me go. So if it's love.
Like I said, I gave you all the seeds to find me online because the whole point is to get my property back, because that was non-consensual. And the law seriously hasn't caught up to the survivor-victim mentality. But I will share what they said, all the people in the case study, because it is their words that are guiding it. And because I made the only deadline that I ever need, which is a LinkedIn renewal of a premium membership, no thanks, because I'm not on here looking for a job, clearly. I'm on here connecting and seeing if it is all marketing or if people really truly mean what they say. Thank you. These are stories of white people with anxiety over things that they will never get in trouble with because they're white. And I'll let the white people tell you. Because I married into a family who, I guess, didn't. Some of them saw race and some of them didn't. And some of them were nice and some of them weren't. And most importantly, some of them decided that the only important thing that matters is how much someone is worth. Their words in year 6 about this grandma who has $1 million in a nursing home, the one that repeats herself. Everything's intact except for this piece.